So we must come to grips with the truth. Again, the Master Jesus said, when you do come to grips with the truth, meaning when you genuinely come to know the truth, capital T, truth with a capital T, that truth now will make you free. And that freedom is the realization of the true nature of the being that you are, and with that, the realization that the happiness that we're all seeking, that we're all looking for, and hoping that one day will come, is already here and now present in the very heart and core of our own being. It's the very nature of the true self that we all are. But we have to awaken to it and realize it immediately and directly, not with the mind. The mind is what disturbs it. The mind is what conceals it. The mind is what hides it. The mind is what keeps us from it. We have to awaken and realize it with the no mind, directly in the mindless awareness of being. That means when we dissolve the conditioned patterns that we call the mind, which is nothing more than the history of all of the events, the memory of all of the events that we have undergone throughout time, when we dissolve that, which are like clouds hiding the sun of ourself, when we clear away the clouds of memory and come into direct knowing of the true nature of the being that we are, the realization goes with that happiness, call it bliss, is our true nature. Just like the true nature of water is wet and the true nature of fire is heat. Water does not have to put forth any effort to be wet. It doesn't have to do anything to be wet. Fire doesn't have to do anything to burn. It's just its nature. And the nature of the true self that we are is bliss, happiness. We don't have to do anything to have it, or to be it, or to experience it, or to express it. It's just what we are. And now that ends the quest for it in the world, because when you're filled with happiness, you don't pursue happiness. That's the simplicity of it. And yes, as you said before, looking for it in the wrong places. We're looking for happiness in the wrong place. It's not to be had. It's not to be found in the body-mind or in this world. Pleasure, yes, pleasure is to be had in the body-mind in this world. But the mistake is being made that we're mistaking pleasure for happiness. Pleasure And the search for it in this world is the result of the desire for more and better and different experiences from this body-mind existence. Because we've gotten caught up in them and incorrectly projecting the events of all of this onto the self, believing that all of this is the basis of truth and reality, and it's not. So what it really boils down to, we must stop identifying with the unreal as being real, with the untrue as being true, with the non-self as being self, and allow what is real and true and genuinely the self to reveal itself to us in our own consciousness. And that's the work that we do here in Aham. So we're not saying that happiness is not possible. We're saying that the only happiness that is worth pursuing is the truth about happiness, the truth about the self, the truth of who we are, where did we come from, how did we get here, and where are we going. That's what Aham addresses. Now, does that have any interest to you? You see, we've been involved in this journey, looking for truth in the wrong place, not only in this lifetime, but in countless millions of lifetimes prior to this, through every imaginable form, name and form and expression. Jesus said, "Follow me." Jesus said, "Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be yours as well." I'm not saying that he did not share with his disciples and his close followers how to go about doing that. But if he did, it was not recorded by any of them as to how to do that. It's been 2,000 years later that Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, another Christed being of the same caliber, of the same category as the Master Jesus, has shared with us how to go about doing that. And it's very simple. Trace your own sense of I that rises out of the core of your being as pure consciousness, but has been contaminated by the mind and by thought. Trace it back to the source from which it came, and merge with the source of being, which Jesus said is within us all, which Jesus called heaven, that is within us all. So the source of being, shining in us as the very self of us all, is always here and now present. It's always available. It's just that in our ignorance of it, we're looking for it outside rather than looking for it inside. When we turn our attention inward, into consciousness itself, into awareness itself, and give our attention one-pointedly to the very source of our being, and do that without thought interfering and disturbing and distracting us from this one-pointed pursuit of the source of being, the source of being will reveal itself to us. And we will then transcend our identification with the body-mind and this world. And peace, freedom, and joy will be realized to be the true nature of the being that we are. That's the simplicity of it all. And inquiry is the tool. It is the way. But you must use it constantly. You must use it and practice it constantly. That is, if you're into enlightenment, true awakening, true spiritual awakening in this lifetime. To go beyond the philosophical belief in what I'm saying, let me warn you, don't believe a thing I'm saying. Don't make it into a philosophy. Don't make it into a belief. But rather hear what I'm saying with your being, not with your mind. Follow what I'm saying with your consciousness, again, not with your mind, and practice it constantly until it becomes your own direct awareness and realization. But I warn you, I caution you, that it must be done constantly. That means you do not buy into a single thought that your mind raises up. Now, the mind itself is going to doubt that. It's going to question that. The mind itself is going to come up and say, if I'm inquiring constantly, which is what Jesus said, pray without ceasing. Pray without ceasing. The mind itself is going to raise the doubt. How can I ever accomplish whatever I need to accomplish in life? How can I maintain responsibilities and take care of all of my obligations if my attention is ever focused only on the source of my being? Well, that's your mind that raises that question. That's not yourself that raises that question. When asked about what is the mind, Bhagavan said, the mind is nothing more than a bundle of thoughts. Because we think, we surmise that there is a thinker that gives rise to these thoughts, and we call that mind. Thoughts are going on in what we call the mind, just like breathing. Breathing happens. You don't have to do anything to make yourself breathe. You just breathe naturally and automatically. Just like your heart beats. You don't have to do anything to make your heart beat. Your heart just beats naturally and automatically. Likewise, you don't have to do anything to make thoughts happen. As a matter of fact, you can't stop thoughts from happening. What you can do is to inquire into the thoughts and watch them subside. They will subside. If you begin to pursue the thinker, which is the I thought will disappear, leaving only the consciousness that you are. Then you just abide in the consciousness that you are and remain at peace. And you must do it constantly. Praying without ceasing. Do it constantly. And when you do, eventually, you will dissolve all the conditioned patterns of the mind, neutralizing the mind, ending its strategy to distract you from the inquiry. And you will awaken and realize the true nature of the self that you are and be happy. It's just that simple. Any question? If not, then continue with the process. Namaste.
Namaste.